Okay, ready?
Whoa, 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 stop.
I'm Bryant, your host here for Sports Bridge. We're going to be bringing you sports news on all three levels, including a high school recap of Warren Central and Carmel State Championship game, the college basketball March Madness recap, and also NBA sports news. Here we go. This past Saturday, the Carmel Greyhounds faced the Warren Central Warriors in a 54-48 Warren Central win in the 4A State Championship. And here's Drew and Will for more insight on the game.
Thank you, Ty. I'm Olseen here with your recap for the 4A class Boys Basketball State Championship. It was a hard-fought game by both teams, with the Warriors coming out on top 54-48. It's very hard for the seniors for the Greyhounds to lose this game, obviously being their senior year, but most importantly losing it close and having a great run in the playoffs. This was also the first year for Coach Ryan Osborne, and for him to be able to get to the state championship in his first year was a real success. It came down to him in the end for the Greyhounds in order for them to score their points, but it wasn't enough. John Michael Malloy for the Greyhounds led all scorers with 21 points. Lastly, it was a great season for both teams, one with the Warren Central Warriors going 33-0, an undefeated season and a state title, and secondly for the Greyhounds, just to have these juniors next year, they'll be able to propel themselves for an awesome senior year.
Thanks, guys, for the intel on the Carmel game. It's sad to see those Carmel seniors be crushed and their season end after working so hard for 4 years. But it's bright to see that Jalen Wack was the 4A Mental Attitude Award winner for his hard work and dedication to the community for the last 4 years. And it's great to see the Warren Central Warriors be able to bounce back from their first round exit last year and be able to go 32-0 and win the state championship this year. Now we're going to go into more college basketball. We're going to send it to Drew and Will on how the NCAA tournament went. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. So now, Will, as we move on to the NCAA, we see that this was definitely one for the books. And what was your favorite part about watching this tournament?
Well, I really enjoyed seeing UMBC beat Virginia in that 16-1 game. First time ever a 16 seed has beat a 1, and they didn't just beat them, they beat them in blowout fashion. I thought it was amazing to watch them take out a number 1 seed, and then watching them in their next game against K-State was amazing too. Even though they came up short, they gave it a good fight. I thought they were going to win that game.
Yeah, and I'd say my favorite part about this tournament was seeing Loyola Chicago, the 11 seed, come into the Final Four and almost take it down to Michigan, but they ended up Michigan being too much. With just Sister Jean in that Chicago area, hyping up their team as they go through the tournament was fun to watch. And we see something like that every year, but we don't normally see an 11 seed go to the Final Four, so I thought that was something that was pretty unique.
But in the end, Villanova was just a lot too much for every team. No team really gave them a fight. With their star power of Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson, and they just too much, and they just blew out every team.
Yeah, and last thing was a lot of people probably made brackets, saw that UMBC upset, and then after that it just changed everything. And I remember reading something that after that upset no one had a perfect bracket, and there's never been one. And so this year was the year that a lot of people thought it could happen, but it ended up turning out being one of the best.
And I got to give a shout out to my man DiVincenzo from Villanova. Definitely upped his draft stock from that one game. I thought it was amazing to see him come off the bench and drop 31 in a national championship game. I love when that stuff happens.
Yeah, this was definitely a tournament that a lot of people remember, and especially me and probably you. It was definitely fun to watch being basketball fans. So Will, with the NBA season coming to a close, how could you see these playoffs coming out, first starting with the 1-8 game?
Well, the 1-8 game is probably the most interesting game in this whole Eastern Conference playoffs. I think that the Wizards will beat the Raptors as an underdog.
Yeah, and then going into the 2-7 game, the Celtics Heat I think going into the playoffs with Kyrie Irving getting injured, this series should have been a blowout after watching the Celtics throughout the whole season. But I think it could be a little bit closer. But in the end, I think Celtics will come out of it maybe in a 4-2 win.
Yeah. And we'll move on to the 3-6 game, 76ers and Bucks. This is a very interesting game too because you got Giannis Antetokounmpo against Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and the star power in the 76ers lineup. I think the 76ers will win this easily though, going away with it, probably in a 4-1 series win. And I think they have a really good chance to go all the way.
Yeah, I agree with that. We see as of right now, coming to a close, the 76ers are on a 14-game win streak, and that's without Joel Embiid, one of their star players, so I agree. And then to go into the last game, the Cavs versus the Pacers, it's crazy how it seems like every single year these two teams end up matching up. And I think this has been a close one as we see throughout the season. They've played a couple times. They've split. Both teams have blown each other out, and then there's been a close game. But I think in the end, LeBron James is just going to do his thing. I think with his talent, Pacers aren't going to be able to stop it, even with Victor Oladipo having a great year. And I think the Cavs will end up coming out.
All right, moving on to the West. We got the first game, Rockets, T-Wolves, or the Nuggets. Who do you think, first off, who do you think will make it into that 8 seed, and what do you think will happen with that 1-8 game?
In my opinion, I think the Timberwolves have the better lineup, and they will end up getting that 8 seed over the Nuggets just enough. Even if they have the same record, they do have the tiebreaker. And then I just think the Rockets are too much to handle for the Timberwolves, even with Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler. James Harden is playing phenomenally, most likely to get the MVP. So I think they'll take that one pretty single-handedly.
And then we move on to the 2-7 game, Thunder and Warriors. This one I cannot wait to watch. Could also be the Spurs or the Pelicans. This West is unbelievably crazy, and you just never know. You don't know, even with 3 games left, who's going to make it into each spot. But as of right now, it's the Thunder and the Warriors. I think that the Warriors are going to kill them, obviously, but without Steph, it could be a tough one. The Thunder have beaten them more times than they've beaten the Thunder this year. So I think the Warriors will win this going away.
Yeah, I agree. And going into the last game, the 4-5, I think it could go either way, like you said, with all the teams having the same record. But the Jazz and the Pelicans, as of right now, I think this will be the closest game of the West, and with Donovan Mitchell, the shining rookie, I think he has the opportunity to lead the Jazz to beat the Pelicans, but I think Anthony Davis is going to be too much, and that 5 seed could be the only upset besides possibly the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, or who do you think comes out of the East and the West, and what do you think, who will win it?
Well, with the East, I got to go with the Cavs against my better judgment, thinking the Raptors will make it, but I got to go with LeBron. He's too much. He's been too much all year. This is his 15th season, and this has got to be one of his best seasons he's ever had. I got to go with him making it in a rematch against the Warriors again. I think if the Warriors will make it out of that first round, which I believe they will, and they get Steph Curry back, I think it's just them from here on out.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Cavaliers. I think LeBron, best season, in my opinion, that I've ever seen him play, will come out of the East, but I'm going to go with the Rockets. I think their season's been too much, and the Warriors have been dealing with issues with injuries, and in the end, I think the Rockets will end up winning it, getting a nice title to go back to Houston.
Since I've